So in this video, what we're going to go through is the placement record, and specifically looking at the handover that now happens between front office and back office. So from a front office perspective, if we went to view requirements, this is the requirement record associated with this placement, and you can obviously see that the details have been filled in against this requirement. Various candidates have been shortlisted, longlisted, and processed through this requirement, and it's reached a point where a candidate has been placed and it's resulted in a placement record. So an offer's been created and then the offer's been accepted, and that's the point where we come in now into this placement record. So from the front office user's perspective, they have created a placement record with the offer being accepted. At this point, the placement is still deemed as unauthorized. So that's to say that ultimately all of the fields are still, they can still be edited. The start, the end, the details in relation to the placement can still be finalized. You can still edit the rates, for example. You can still add some additional rates if you want to in relation to the placements. There's also the option to look at commission splits and add a commission split in relation to the placement as well. And ultimately edit the placement as they see fit. But when you reach the point that ultimately the placement is now confirmed and the details of the contracts are confirmed as well with the user, then it's ready to be handed over to back office. Also, there's a checklist as well here that may be worked through as part of this process as well, just in finalising the placement. But as part of the front office stage, what they'll do is authorise the placement. And as authorising the placement, what you're ultimately doing is setting it at first level authorised. And what this does is it locks down all of the fields in relation to the placement, except for the back office tab. So at this point, the placement is deemed as authorised from a front office perspective. It's confirmed with the candidate and with the client, but from a back office perspective now, this is where the handover happens, because the back office tab is still a modifiable section of the placement. It still can be edited, and in this area is where you've seen the invoice details, which were stored against the company record, pulled over into the placement as part of the placement being made, and the payment details in relation to the candidate have been pulled over. So everything essentially has been stamped into the placement from the associated company and candidate. From here, you can specify any remaining components in relation to the placement from the back office tab, confirm that you are happy with it, and then the final stage before you can proceed to thinking about timesheets and charges and associated elements to the placement is to second level authorise. So we authorise there from view more, we press OK, and then what that will do is it will second level authorise the placement. So this completely locks down the placement now in terms of its rate info, in terms of its basics, start and end date info. Essentially, by locking down the placement at second level authorised stage, we now release and open up the timesheets tab and the charges tab. And these are the tabs that essentially we'll go through in the next video in terms of how you go about creating the associated elements in those areas. But from a placement perspective, we now have a second level authorized placement handed over and completed by back office. So this placement is ready to be processed, ready to receive associated timesheets and charges in relation to this placement record.